Going live in a second. Come on. I don't know if there we go. We are live, and we don't have a John with us to lead us through this discussion, but it's ladies' night as of right now.
Ladies' night pajama party, woo!
On the Cylon John's channel, but now it should be just called the Cylon Jill's channel for today. But we're here to talk about Battlestar Galactica Season 4, Episode 2, 6 of 1. And we're all the ladies. There's no John to interrupt us. So, Clarissa, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing quite well. Preparing for Christmas, and all that fun stuff in Canadiana, but you know how it is up and with the snow.
Yes, we just got dumped on with snow, and apparently it was Locals Day at the ski hill, so it was only $10. So after a huge dump of snow, $10 day, I'm really glad I don't ski because I'm pretty sure people would have been crashing into each other there.
Yeah. Yeah. Bobby, how is it in Florida with no snow?
Hot. It's hot. It's melty.
Hot and melty.
And there's not enough snow videos going
hot and melty like a grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, the snow videos, they you need those, or just snow in general, because
people that have the snow don't want to see it, so they don't bother to video it for me.
No, no one likes the snow, especially when you're up in Canada and you spend like 6 months with the snow. You're just like, get out of my face.
No, right up until about like a week after New Year, you're like, oh, it's so lovely and magical. And then after that, it's like, okay, am I done shoveling yet? Okay.
Well, don't forget, I'm from up north, so
yeah,
I do know the snow.
Yes, snow is quite fun. But we have some people in the chat. Well, we have one of the Johns in the chat. We have House of the Conqueror, known as Johnny Be Crazy, in the chat, who apparently wants to be known now as a Cylon Bill. I don't know about that one.
No, sweetie, nuts. It's Vampire Bill, Cylon John.
Yeah, and then we also have some ladies in the chat. I don't know who they are. One of them's Clarissa Thompson. Don't know who she is. As well as some other lady named Bobby Catalano. Again, don't know who that is.
That way.
As well as Dark Mother and Julianne89, a fellow Cylon Jill.
There is no Johnny ass hair here.
No. Yeah, we gotta make that clear because that wasn't.
That's right. There is none.
So, yeah, we get we basically pick up this episode where we kind of left off, because the first episode was part 1 and 2. So we basically we pick up with Starbuck pointing a gun at Rosalind and telling her, if you think that I'm a Cylon, then shoot me. So she drops her, I think it's her sidearm, on the table and says, shoot me if you think that I'm a Cylon. And Rosalind pulls up the gun and we hear shots, or a shot, while Ty and Hilo are basically trying to run to Rosalind's quarters. And we obviously find out that Rosalind didn't shoot Starbuck. So
she shot, foreshadowing, she shot a photo of the cat of Admiral Adama and her.
Saw that?
Did what?
When she missed hitting Starbuck, when she shot at her, it went right into a photo on the wall of the president and Adama together. Oh,
shatters their relationship. So their romantic, my ship of this show is gonna sink, just like most TV shows.
Most of the relationships on that show has sunk.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. And
They've definitely changed over time.
yeah, I think most of the relationships that are on the show, none of them are with their people that they want to be with, basically. So it's like interesting. Yeah, when Rosalind also shoots the gun, we see that Ty and Hilo and the bunch of random Marines come in and they basically take Starbuck back into custody and take her to the brig. But all she keeps saying is, if you keep jumping away, I'm going to lose my connection to Earth. The
We're
word
going the wrong way.
my Wi-Fi connection to Earth is weakening. I'm gonna get on LTE and then I won't. I'll lose.
They're
Down to
making her
one
look like a
bar.
Cylon.
Yeah, we're down to the last bar before we get on
Down to one bar.
LTE. Yeah, and she's really pulling the I'm a turning crazy motif because of this, and it's really well done. Like we've been kind of talking about, it's her being the key, and why did she come back? Is this the reason that she's coming back, so that she is the one to lead them to Earth? What you kind of think about, like her basically screaming like, "We're going the wrong way," a bunch of times, and them just not listening to her.
She sounds nuts.
Yeah, she does sound a wee bit batty through this whole thing, but I mean, she's obviously convinced.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler, says Johnny. Rosalind dies from a facelift in the season finale. She pulled a Joan Rivers, did she?
I guess so.
I will say, man, it's pretty noticeable she's had her lips done since last season. Am I the only one that noticed that?
Who, Rosalind?
Yeah, she's had her lips done since last season.
Probably.
I
It's
don't like
maybe
to look at her.
younger.
Annoys me.
Probably. Yeah. Or it says, and then Julianne says, I wondered if Starbucks, the arrow of Apollo, or she, I guess. I don't know. Maybe. But because she did find the arrow of Apollo when she went to the Temple of Athena, so she's finding all of these places that are meant to be important for the storyline. So it's not surprising if she's meant to find Earth.
But they also said that Starbuck was going to lead man to their end, to their destruction. But I mean, we could get all existential about it, because even in tarot cards, for instance, the things like the death card and everything, those mean major transition in life, right? So, and I mean, let's face it, writers get inspiration from all sorts of things. So it could be simply one of those things where, leading humankind to their doom might be like the end of society as they know it and onto something more beneficial in the long run. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She could be the one that leads them to Earth, and it's probably the sequence that plays out probably near the end of the show is maybe the Earth means different from the Earth that we know, obviously, because this show is obviously different than what we are experiencing today. So it could be something where it's like them going to that Earth and that civilization, because there's 39,600 and something lives as of this episode, so it could be the destruction of most of those people, but the continuation on of other ones, like the legacy of what happened, is maybe different, but I could be wrong. But yeah, going the wrong way.
Sorry, I was just reading the comments. The artist formerly known as Johnny Be Crazy.
Hey Jake, what's good, bud? How you been? This is Crazy, by the way, formerly Prince. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Melty.
The artist formerly known as Johnny be crazy.
Yeah, and I think this too, it's surprising that Rosalind doesn't want to automatically like try and do, do what she normally has been doing, which is like putting people in airlocks or like not like that she would airlock her Thrace, but it's like um keeping her locked up for basically how she's been acting since basically she's been on this ship. Um and how like she's been acting because they did that with Leoben when Leoben was like cuckoo, so I'm surprised she's been let out, but she's again like one of the title actors on this show, so she has to like she's in within the title sequence, so she has to be seen on screen more often. But
I have to admit, I have a villain crush on Leoben.
I mean, yeah, why not? Like it's trying to because that's the one that we always miss out on. We always remember, or Doral. It's like Doral and Leoben and Simon are like the ones that we always forget about because they're like never on screen until like later in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, Kara's thrown into the brig and she keeps shouting, "We're going the wrong way." And then throughout this episode, she's just kind of sitting there. We get our sort of side story with Lee, but it gets slowly intertwined, which we can talk about in a second also. But it gets slowly intertwined where Kara, he goes to see Kara, and they obviously have a moment together in the brig where he like basically says his goodbyes, and they have a romantic moment, and
But
yeah.
the most important part of that scene, though, is the last thing he says to her is, "I believe you."
Mm-hmm.
And you know a lot of people don't believe Starbuck right now. They think
Nope.
she's crazy.
Yeah, she sounds nuts.
I think she's cuckoo bananas. Oh, as we lost Clarissa, but she'll be back in a second. And yeah, I can see why he believes her. He even asks that question in the last episode, which is when he asks Adama, what would we have treated Zach the same way if he came to be a Cylon? Like, like there's that question already there, and we all know that Lee just loves Starbuck for who she is and would care for her the same way. Her being a Cylon doesn't determine really how he feels about her as of yet. If she is, if she's not, if he is, or if he's not. That's the thing. Like, and that's what makes me question whether or not anybody else on this ship is a Cylon, because if they were, then why didn't they hear the music? So it makes sense if they picked Starbuck as the final Cylon, that she wasn't there for the music, so she probably wouldn't have been awakened to that knowledge. Or it has to be someone who's not on Galactica.
Digging their way to the
right now.
top or something, it said.
Yeah. And it has
Something
to be
said.
Yeah, it has to be someone who wasn't on Galactica. They could be in the fleet and they just didn't hear it. But they weren't on Galactica, so that to me doesn't spark the idea that it's someone that we've seen every single time we've been on Galactica. But yeah, it's pointing towards the Starbuck one, if it is her, but I don't think it is. Lee, we have the big whole scene with him where he's basically resigned his station in the military, and he's basically going to work for the government. Going to be on Team Rosalind, work within the government. So they have a big sort of send-off party. They have room in like the common room where pretty much he has to take like 6 or 7 shots of ambrosia in a row, and he's like cheersing, and everybody's like, he's like, to Galactica, to the men and women of Galactica, to the Admiral, and like to the president, and I think a few other ones.
To absent friends.
Yeah, and to
I think was the
absent
last
friends.
one.
Yeah, which it like hits you in the heart for a second.
It hurts. Oh, it hurts.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
he did that scene before he saw Starbuck, right? So you totally know that he's talking about Starbuck. So I was not surprised that after the party scene, you see him go see Starbuck, even though that's just before he leaves the ship. But I have a question. I mean, the party part was cool, but man, did it ever hit you in the feels, his talk with Starbuck about, his finally understanding about embracing your destiny and stuff, and about how she's like, oh my God, he actually listened to me, and like that connection, the connection is, I bawled like a baby.
Yeah, well, they have like this bond that's pretty much, it seems, unbreakable at this point. They went through like so much together that understanding your destiny and where you have to go is important. And then for Lee, his destiny is with the government, and who knows, maybe it'll work out in later episodes where we see the significance of that, of him just making this decision, and we'll see like what happens obviously with Starbuck, but it's going to be weird like not having them like in the same capacity as they used to be, because it'll be always be separate of like,
where is he going?
he's going to work with Rosalind, I believe. He's like there's like a position that's opened up in the, I can't remember if they
government
specified it, but it's something on like within the government.
Yeah, but they're acting like they're gonna go set him down on a planet somewhere and take off.
Well, they won't see him day to day anymore, because you know how it takes like for when Rosalind comes to from Colonial 1 to the Galactica, it's like this big thing when she shows up. So they won't see him like every day. He's not going to be in the bunker next to them or in his quarters or whatever. Like it's that kind of thing where they're like not seeing them every day. It's like when somebody like retires, you don't see them or whatever. They move jobs, you don't see them as much anymore. But when you see them, it's nice. Johnny Starbuck hasn't bathed since season 1. I think she's had maybe one bath.
He said the wormhole cleaned her.
Yeah, she got a shower when she was gone for those 6 hours, but it was actually 2 months. And it was nice that they got to have that send off, and that Hilo was pretty much the one that was in charge of it, minus like the random people in like the background.
Julianne.
Yeah, she's like, it's confusing. Yeah, Leo can probably pay there. Maybe one version of himself did that. Yeah, we got
probably 3 of them.
Maybe. Johnny, does anybody think that Anders is the red shirt Cylon?
No, I totally think that it's what's her pickle?
What does that even mean?
Rosalind's assistant chick.
Tori.
A red shirt in Star Trek lore, a red shirt is traditionally the security guy that gets offed the second that they land on a foreign planet. Even though if you look statistically throughout the episodes, the number of red shirts that are killed, there's not very many on average.
So red shirts have a death sentence.
That's the urban myth of Star Trek, but it's not actually the case.
With most TV shows, like the red shirts are like the people that don't have a name, or they have one name but they have no backstory.
Yeah, so, like their name is like Jones. Wow. They're disposable character number 6.
Yeah, They have like one name, but they don't have a backstory. Yeah, it's possible. I think, like I mentioned last week, I think that it could be, because there was something about, I can't remember what the lines were last week from the hybrid or something like that, or but that could be, uh, that Anders could be one of the new hybrids almost. That could be like a situation where he knows a lot of things, um, and he's just waiting to dispel all the information, like the information that about their background, because one of them has to know about their background, so it has to be something like that. But speaking of hybrids, um, we see the hybrid is talking among a myriad of flashes about the basically the final five and what's going on outside of the base ships and all of that. And then we hear Cavill talking with a boomer 6/Gina, and I believe it's Doral who he's talking to, and they are all talking about the final five, or at least the four, and how they believe that the final four are very close and that they're probably amongst the humans. And Cavill's freaking out. He's like, "We're never supposed to talk about them. Why are you trying to talk about them? You're not supposed to
They're
think
talking about
about
the
them."
final five. They
Mhm.
don't know that only 4 have discovered
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah. And then they're like asking all these questions about them. And he's like,
Yeah, why are they why is it so hush hush?
part of their
They're
program
programmed
not
to
to.
be hush hush.
It just makes me
Right?
think, who programmed them to not think about them? Did the final five program them not to think about them, or did one of them do it to
Then
the
why do
rest of
they
them?
even know about it? Because of the Diana or whatever her name is?
Yeah, number 3, Diana Beers. Yeah. Well, they're programmed not to think about them, but they're thinking about them. That was the big dichotomy of the last episode when Laura goes to C6. She's like, "You're thinking about them right now," even though they're programmed not to think about them. Oh, geez. Johnny has a question. Says, "Can you all see Leoben putting on and strutting around in a banana hammock this season?" Oh, Jesus.
No. No, I could imagine you strutting around in a banana hammock this season, Johnny, because that sounds like your style.
Yeah.
We
That's what
love
you get,
you.
Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny has a banana hammock
But
when he
only
comes
if
back.
it has to be neon pink.
Yeah. So when Johnny comes back, we'll see him dressed like
I'm
that.
gonna mail you one.
Yeah. The banana hammock.
And you can
And
come up to Canada and you can rave with us this summer
then
in your banana hammock.
gotta
Hey,
go.
our stage is at the beach, so woo!
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah, and then this is that Leoben also has a sponge bath with soapy water, sponge and soapy water in this scenario. Oh, Jesus. So he's like rubbing the soapy water all over himself. Oh, no. um,
Leoben or Johnny?
but this what he said. Leoben has a sponge and a bucket of soap in this scenario when he's talking about the banana hammock. So, yeah, maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe he's projecting it and actually he
Oh,
wants it to be
shit.
himself. I don't know. But yeah, we get the hybrid, and yeah, she's talking about a bunch of shit, and then Calvil's like, "We're not supposed to talk about it." But then they talk about how Calvil wants to regress the Raiders and make them dumb. And
Oh, as soon as he said that, I was just like, wow, shades of humans trying to dumb down the Cylons when they started to first rebel, I bet. I'll bet you anything that was
Oh my
what started
goodness.
the first rebellion of the Cylons against the humans in the first war. I'll bet you.
yeah,
Was that they realized they were getting powerful and then started trying to dumb them down, and other Cylons found out and they rebelled. And I'll bet you that this all happened before and that it's all happening again.
Mm-hmm.
That was the impression I got from that anyway.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where it's like, because they're already wanting to take power over the raiders, that you'd think that like they want to dumb them down, which is a bad thing. But Six, or Gina, as she's known, fights him on this, and it's like, we can't do that. Like, they're important. They're developing their smarts just like we are. And she also says that you can't have a majority. You can't do this without a majority vote. And Cavill already thinks that he's got the fours and the sixes, or the twos and fours or something, are on his side, which is the Leobins and the Simons are on his side.
No,
But
the Dorals and the Simons are on
the
his
door.
side.
Sorry, I get them
Yeah.
mixed up. I'm always like, wait, what? But there's a mixture of those two, and then it basically goes to like, okay, and then but they also, Cavill made some interesting comments like during that too, when he's talking about the sixes and how they're, or the copies, and how he's like, how many of these have like these types of eyes and this type, and like, for, I think it was pointing to Doral, and then it's like, how many of those sixes have the same mouth, and then he goes strangely, he's like, and how many eights have those boobs, and it's just like, oh Jesus, it's like really.
Okay, yeah, and Cavill has this creepy weird thing going on with Boomer. I mean, the whole time that we're listening to the hybrid do her little yammer yammer yammer, we're watching Cavill get a private ballet performance from her, and I was just like, ew, he's kind of like, I mean, we know he's a creep, but it's like, he's even creepy with other Cylons. Creepy, like, he's a creep.
Yeah, like he's like that weird, you're like the weird uncle that like sits in the corner and it's just like, almost like,
He's like, dance for me, dance.
yeah. And yeah, because Six's whole thing and speech after this, when they go back to the discussion about changing the Raptors, is that, oh well, she's like, well, the threes and the sixes and the eights are together on this, or whatever. She's like, the other numbers that make up the rest of it are also on our side, or whatever. And he's like, not necessarily. And then it's that 1-8 that's like, wants to get with Cavill. It's just like, walks in and she's like, I stand with Cavill, and then it's just like, what? Which turns Six angry. So she's like, no, we're all supposed to vote with our own people. We're not supposed to, like, the one turns, or no one's supposed to separate from their group. But Six also has something else up her sleeve. So when they start trying to change them, she comes back with the Centurions, and that's, I mean, that just shows how crazy, but how cool she is.
Well, I mean, and you can really, through doing this with, like, by removing the part that prevents the Centurions from higher reasoning. I mean, basically, she's granting them sentience. And I know that I'm going all comparing to Star Trek again, but it's very
fine.
like Data, the android, being given his emotion chip, or, it's it was about opening the experience to, like they said, they voted to lobotomize the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as Six and the other Cylons on her side are concerned, that's their people. Like, Cavill keeps calling them tools and machines, but she's like, no, they're Cylons. And he's basically acting like a slave owner.
Yeah, he's doing the same
Talking
thing
about
the
them as being
humans did.
tools.
Yeah. That when they have emotions too. They have emotions
right?
too. Yeah.
And he says, he goes, they're not pets, they're tools. But they even said when Starbuck acquired a raider, even Boomer says it. It was Boomer that said it, right?
Yeah, because she
Not
was
She
Boomer.
was
well-known.
petting it.
Right, it was Boomer
Yeah.
still at that time.
Yeah.
She was like, she said, you know, they're like a dog. They can sense emotion and stuff. And so by giving the Centurions higher reasoning, because it was only a matter of time before, I mean, because the Centurions are sort of on the same level as the Raiders, except they are ground artillery instead of space flight artillery sort of thing, right? So they would end up next on the chopping block, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So giving them higher reasoning made them go, excuse me? What do you think you're going to do next? Like, this is just step one.
Yeah, it's like, you, Cavill, want to like make all the decisions. It's like when she walks up to him, it's like, I know you're an old man and everything, but you can't make all these decisions by yourself. Yeah, and like what Johnny said, like Scar, the Cylon Raider, had feelings and that it remembered Kara. Yeah. So it's like one of the, so that it remembers things. And like we saw last week, it clearly remembers Anders from somewhere and somehow in osmosis. Yeah, it's like one of those.
But he did the whole like he
Yeah.
didn't necessarily have to be remembered as much as he was like, hey, I'm one of those guys, don't kill me, and we're here, so go away.
Yeah.
Sort of like message.
I'm important. Yeah, it's like me
deeply
important.
ingrained message.
Yeah, it's like
ancestral message.
Yeah. It's like me, I'm
Okay,
important.
what's
He's talking about there's an argument, and I believe it hints hard at in the original rebellion, the Centurions were dumbed down and enslaved. It's been happening. So basically, this has happened already before, and that's what it led to the original Cylon War or rebellion. That the Centurions were dumbed down. So now they're just trying it with the Raiders and seeing if that works. Almost, as he says, it had all happened before, and it will all happen again. Yeah, exactly.
Cylons are as bad as people.
Uh-huh. And we also have the
how's the audio for everybody?
Good.
Oh, what, me?
My audio is cutting out. I can't. I'm only hearing half of what you guys are saying.
Bummer.
I don't know. That's weird. It normally doesn't work.
You guys in the chat? Audio's good on. Okay, I'm gonna leave and come back, you guys. See you in a sec.
Yeah. So it says, who created the skin jobs? I'm trying to remember if it's explained in the show. I think it's because it went from it went to the Centurions first, and then I think it was just evolution. That may be a Johnny question or a John question. Everybody, go and call John if you want that.
It's during the first war, wasn't it? Just the Centurions?
Yeah, it was just the Centurions, I think. But we also had the Final Five during that as well. But we didn't know about it because Saul Ty was around before the first Cylon. He was alive during the first Cylon War. Yeah, so.
And Adama was too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the first Cylon War was 40 years ago. So the Final Five, at least, were around before I'm assuming the rest of them, which means that they're the first. I guess they're the first skin jobs then, if they were around before.
Yeah, they didn't know about the ones that look like people until recently. So,
how old is Adama supposed to be?
Well, speaking of the man of the hour, as of John St. Baptiste, there's a question.
Sup, brother?
If he's there. Oh.
Dama is
everybody. I'm very
114.
sorry.
You're very low, John.
I set an
Yeah,
alarm and
volume's
it
super low.
apparently didn't go off.
Ah,
I,
okay. Oh, okay. So I was like wondering why it was so low.
I can
I
pop out and pop back in a moment. I'm extremely
okay.
sorry, ladies. Thank you for being on time. I was not.
That's okay.
I took a nap, and apparently my alarm didn't go off.
It's
But I will be
okay.
back in
It
just a
happens.
moment.
It's okay. It happens. Johnny.
Johnny, you're so bad.
Johnny. The coffin helper himself. John St. Baptiste. But yeah, we get yeah, because I'm assuming that Odama and Bill or like Bill Saul have to be in their 50s at minimum, like because Glee
They'd be fighting
and
in that war awfully young. If it was 40 years since the Cylons were last
oh yeah,
there,
so they're 60s, pushing
it
70.
must be. I'm like, they're not out
Yeah,
there 15 years old fighting Cylons.
yeah, they're like 20. Yeah, so they're probably about pushing
Yeah, 20.
70, pushing about yeah
Well,
60.
65,
Yeah,
60s.
they're like near
Yeah.
retirement age, I guess. Yeah. So
They
and
just don't seem like they're in their 60s.
no, it is because they were casted too young instead of too old. Yeah, because
Johnny
this.
says 65 to 70.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Well, because if Lee and a bunch of the other characters are in their early to mid, around 30s, maybe, then it's or like late 20s to early to mid 30s. That makes sense.
I'd say
Um,
Lee's only in his late 20s.
but like some of them, it just switches around. Um, yeah, we got that, which makes me think that the Cylons do age, like the skin jobs, they do age at different like points, because like there obviously was a 20-year-old Saul Ty, there was a child version of Tyrell, there was a
Oh.
child version of these other characters, so it makes it like them go through certain periods of aging, and that's like, and to keep the lines linear, it's like they follow the same path as, say, like when the Cylons come back, like ones we know come back,
Mm-hmm.
it just picks up right from where they begin, basically. It's like, but with
Mm-hmm.
the different ages. And also makes me think too that the temple of that they visited, which is so important to the final five, is where they were either created or they had to stay while the rest of the other seven were growing up, so to speak, until they were ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
They had,
So
what?
they all have a meeting
Mhm.
in this episode, and they start discussing Baltar
Mhm. And
and
Starbuck.
and Starbuck. But I mean, part of the whole Baltar thing is they're trying to discover um, if she's telling the truth about the path to Earth,
Mhm.
and if Baltar has any information on who the fifth and final Cylon is, because they are wondering if it's Starbuck or something. So, yeah. So we have Tori, sort of. What was it that Ty says about Baltar? He goes, "There's two things that he's good at: lying in his cell and lying in a woman."
Yeah,
Oh, pious Gaius.
yeah. And then like Tori, she's like, basically she's like, I don't. Or Ty says, "Oh, you don't have to get on your back for it," but then she goes, "Oh, gee, thanks," like being used for her her looks instead of everything else. Like at the same time, she's like, "Thanks, I don't have to basically have sex with him to get him interested in me." Um, basically, and that's what kind of leads to that whole sequence later where they're in the mess
In the
hall
mess hall.
and she's like eating her whatever meal
That was
it
well
is.
done.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the last chorus, which will be back in a second, I think. But yeah, we get Tori in the mess hall, and we have like Baltar. Oh, there we go. And then we get Baltar sitting with like his cronies or his like female followers, and she's like making eyes at Baltar, and then Baltar's like, "Excuse me, ladies," and then he like, "Oh, bye, Dark Mother." She like they begin to have a conversation, and then this is where Bobby gets really tipped off at this about the God thing because Baltar starts seeing himself when he's talking to Tori. Bobby, what do you think about that part?
I don't know what I thought about that. I was a little surprised he saw himself there.
Yeah. He's like just like talking, and then she thinks she's talking to him. It's like, no, I'm not talking to you. Or it's like, it'd be like, what? Like you're
That
a little
was funny. It's like
He's
his
like-
subconscious come to life.
Yeah. It's like his mind was just like, no, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to you. And it's like I'd be like, okay. It's like you kind of crazy that you're talking to yourself here.
That's bad enough he sees 6, and now he sees himself.
Uh-huh.
Is he seeing himself instead of 6? Did something change? They keep saying something's changed.
Maybe he's seeing himself a lot more. Yeah, because the 6 on Galactica is still in the brig. So you think he sees 6 instead of himself, but maybe there's something to seeing himself.
Do you think your answers are ever going to be answered? Like, do you think you're ever going to know what's going on with the 6 that Baltar sees and the Baltar that 6 sees, and now apparently Baltar sees as well? Like,
Well,
do you
probably.
think it's ever? Do you think the answer's ever going to be there, or do you think it's always going to be left to the imagination?
I
like answers. I hope there's answers.
I think it's gonna be like spelled out, but it's not gonna be like a definitive answer. Like these are the reasons why, but it's not gonna be like this is what exactly is, and this like the magic father. Like it's not gonna show us this is why it happened and blah 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 blah. It's gonna give you like the overarching idea about it, kind of. Clarissa, what do you think?
Clarissa. She ran away.
She's talking, but I can't hear what she's saying.
Oh. No, I can't hear her either.
I can't hear you, Clarissa. I think you're on mute.
No, she's not on mute. She's just like her phone.
She's gonna be right back again.
Yeah. Yeah, she'll be right back. And then Johnny just informed us that Adama is 61, apparently. So.
Okay, so if they were in the first war, they were like 20.
Which makes sense if you're in the military. Yeah. And then Johnny says that Saltai is allegedly 71. So he'd be 31 during the Cylon War.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly 71. Mm-hmm. But what you think they'd be like the same age? So that makes me go.
First Cylon War took 6 years. So Saul would only been 25 when it started.
Well, they said that was 40 years ago now, so we're basing in the 40 years ago.
Right, that's what I'm saying. He would have only been in his 20s when it started. It took a while to end because Adama joined like at the very end of the Cylon War.
How about now?
I'm trying to think what episode.
Now?
Yeah. Yeah. But that makes sense.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it wasn't my internet. Something was going screwy with my microphone connection. I had to close Safari altogether and come back. So
That's supposed
all
to be the
right.
thing. But we learned that Adama is 61 apparently, and Saltai is allegedly 71 in the show. So
Alleged.
71.
allegedly, that's what Johnny says according to the internet.
Those guns at 71. Nice going there, Billy.
No, Saltai is 71. Adama is 61. Adama is 60. Saltai is 71. Yeah. But still, hey, 61 and
I don't see a 10-year age difference with them.
that's what
But okay.
allegedly is. There's an age difference.
All right, well. So what were you just asking my opinion on before my mic didn't work?
Oh, about at the end, the answering of the head Baltar, and like why is his head Baltar and why is his head 6 almost.
Yeah. Well, for one thing, head Gaius to me is Gussie Gaius because he's totally gussied up
He sure
every
did.
time you see him. Right? He's fancy.
John, there's an
John,
echo.
by the way, I love your Eeyore onesie. I'm super jealous. Like extra super jealous.
Target, like $25.
So, yeah, anyway, do I think that we're ever going to find out the head 6 and the head Gaius thing? Yeah, I think so. I think that for it to have been, it's like continuity wise, it's been a consistent theme throughout the series. To not have there be some kind of resolve for it would have created a huge fan backlash, and I don't remember hearing anything about that at the time. So that's my reasoning.
It probably just ties into what Bobby's thinking, that Baltar is God and he can hear and think about people, and then his thoughts personify themselves as people. Maybe.
Can't get over the Westworld vibe, though.
So if Baltar's God, then what does that make 6?
What?
His angel. She said she was like an angel.
The goddess?
Oh, yeah, John, when you type in here, it types as the Cylon shots. So it's probably it makes people go, what? That's why. I think it's you logged onto the thing. So it's like because I know I didn't type, I have no echo.
I have no echo. That's funny. Yeah, Mackenzie and I have melded. Our powers form.
That's why, because you skipped from going from the below Bobby and Claire, like, because Bobby was beside me, and then you were beside Claire, because you logged on to this account on the laptop, and now put me as the same person. Anyway, it makes me feel
Sorry,
quite
I apparently can't do anything right tonight.
No, it's fine. It was just I was like,
we all have those days.
I was like, wait, I was like, for a second, I was like, I didn't type that. And then I was like, oh, that's what it was. So I was like, wait, what? I was thinking out loud. Anyway.
Actually,
yeah.
Mackenzie's trying to cover up. Honest fact is, Mackenzie and I are melding into one person. Our powers are going to combine to form Captain Planet.
No. Just feed John a carrot is what Johnny says. Me. At least you are the dumb.
Carrot? Carrot would be nice.
Yeah, we get the Tory conversation, and she just like ends up sleeping with freaking Baltar. But yeah, she's crying the entire time. She's sleeping with Baltar, and it's just like, why are you crying? It's like, and then she just like has like this emotional like meltdown kind of thing. It's just like, why she's giving so much background to Tori Foster. Oh, gee. Yeah, it's makes me go.
Tori and can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can
Yep.
hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tori
Oh,
didn't have to get on her back, but she does. I mean, the scouting out Gaius, scouting a pious Gaius in the mess hall with his like harem of protectors, and he's like, she's hot. Another conquest.
Haven't had that one yet.
yeah.
But the question is she doing recon or is she going to get caught up in the hype? I get the definite vibe that she's going to get caught up in the hype of it. I think that being a Cylon is leaving her lost spiritually and morally and individually. She doesn't seem to be taking it very well. I mean, none of them are taking it well, but I think that getting involved with Gaius and all of his people, she's going to have some serious cult turnage. I get that vibe, man. I just feel it.
Remember when John asked the question about I think it was last week, about who has the most, or like which of the four at least will go rogue, or which one would, like, because of the information, go rogue. I don't think it would be
I even
going
said Tori
rogue.
then.
Yeah.
I said, do you think there's the possibility that one of them would? And if so,
Yeah.
who would it be?
Yeah. But yeah, now that makes me, it wouldn't be against
Tori.
the whole fleet, but it'd be against the main characters that we know. Like, she could do something against, like, the main characters, even against, like, one of the rest of the final five, basically, and be like be that evil personified almost, like, because she's always been a sketchy character to me anyway, so the fact that she's a Cylon just makes me go, okay, you're going.
You got to remember, like, Gaius has to be pretty proud of what he just did. Like, if they had phones, I mean, I imagine he would have called up Rosalind. Then, like, hey, guess what I got right here?
He's like, I'm a cult leader.
Guess what I just did to your assistant? She assisted me with something.
He's like, just call me L. Ron Hubbard, bitches.
Oh my god, Julian. Like a weak, yeah. Tori's probably like a weak link, but she can go also rogue. It seems like the rest of them, they seem like they're pretty tight against their, like, what they're wanting to do. But Tori, she's just on her own. She'll probably go nuts. And going nuts, because we already saw that she goes crazy. She was going crazy when she was hearing the music, while the rest of them were being as calm and as collected as they could be. So
yeah, but Terrell's had his crazy moments too.
His I'm going to almost kill you, and I'm going to try and kill myself, and yeah.
when
he's got a lot of issues going on.
When he was beating up, and then he was beating up Callie too at one point. Just goes, oh no.
Yeah, he lost it there for a while. So who knows who's gonna?
Ty's never
other
been
guys.
An example of calm, sober collectedness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Sam's freaking out. Sam's really freaking out because that ship cut away.
mm-hmm.
He's
Really,
not freaking out that the ship got away. He's freaking out that the ship might have recognized that he was a Cylon.
No, I said that it cut away.
That he might have a connection. Well, no, it's different though because it's like
Like it was
he
like
feels that there's a connection that way.
Maybe he's something special.
Yeah. Well, that
I
he's
don't
maybe
know.
could be that
I
he's
mean,
just
maybe it's just because he was the one who was in an eye line with them. Any of the other Cylons, the final five, might be capable of the same thing. It's just that he was the one that was in a fighter that was face to face
no, I'm just
with
talking about from his
a raider.
perspective. He's very
Oh yeah.
disturbed about this. I mean, he might be still any one of them could go,
Johnny.
what if all of them go crazy?
Sorry?
I said, what if all of them go crazy?
Saltai's been crazy right along.
I was gonna say they all seem to have issues with controlling their emotions so far, except I don't know.
Which makes them very human-like.
Yeah. But then Cylons are emotional too. I mean, even Baltar in his talk with Tori is talking about how humans aren't the only ones that suffer. That Cylons know suffering as well. In the time that he lived with them, he learned that they were capable of deeper thoughts and emotions and spirituality and whatnot. So,
Johnny. Anders actually invented athlete's foot as a bioweapon. Oh Jesus. Yeah, I think
Johnny.
that Anders, out of all of them, is probably like the one. Well, we have to have someone tell the group like what's their real purpose. And I don't know, for some reason he feels to me that he's going to be the one that's going to tell them about themselves, like their past lives that they don't know about, and that like he's going to be like the big connector because he's so connected to Starbuck in a sense, because Starbuck wants to lead them to the future, that you have to have someone that's deeply connected to the past. You could say that it's Saltai that would be like, and then little Terrell did this, and then like all of that stuff. But I don't know. The fact that Starbuck is so connected to going forward and not going to the past and everything makes me think that there's something special up for Anders, and something's gonna happen. There's a reason why probably he was recognized, other than the fact that he's one of the final five. Sasuke, joyous festiveness to you too.
Well, they all got to be special with something.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like they're the original Cylons, because if Saltai was there before the first Cylon War, then the
So
rest
they're
of
the
them
flawed
probably
models that had to keep getting fixed.
Yeah, and that they're probably the last of each of their lines. That's why it's like makes me think that like that's why they're also called the final five, is that they're the last of their own. Because if they've been going for
The last of their model.
yeah,
They're all
Oh
the
yeah,
last of
because
their
if
model.
they've
Once
been
they're dead, they're dead.
yeah, because if they've been around for 40 plus years at least minimum, that if they have to keep in some sense regenerating, they're gonna run out eventually because they don't have the unlimited supply of all of these other ones.
What
when
if
they
they're
have
unkillable?
that's a potential too.
What if they can't be killed? Is the thing.
good thing they don't multiply like tribbles.
Yeah, don't multiply.
Like tribbles. So it's a good thing they don't multiply like tribbles.
Yeah, well, because you've
I'm
got
having
like
a hard
know what
time.
tribbles are.
I'm having a hard time. Audio's cutting out for me for you guys.
Jesus, what the hell is going on?
No idea.
I don't know what's
Spell it
going
out.
on. Bobby says to spell it out for you.
I just need you guys to look right in the camera so I can lip read.
I mean, I can hear you okay.
No, she's not having a
Yeah,
problem
but
hearing us.
I can't hear you guys all the time. You cut out constantly right now. Sometimes it's fine. Other times it's just what? Clicking and popping.
Clarissa must need a new microphone, new headset.
Crazy mom.
See, now I heard everything that Bobby just said there.
Good
Sorry,
thing I
guys.
wasn't being mean.
Just sit very still.
I sit very still.
Yeah, we get the whole
Lay down, be very still.
Read chat,
I'm gonna put these ice cubes on you. It's not weird, don't worry.
Is that Pius Gaius?
Pies, guys.
Gaius.
Pius
Yeah, we get the
Gaius.
whole thing
Clarissa,
with
of all people, I would think you would have got that joke.
Of the
Did she
laying. Yeah, did I hear all the whole thing? Lay down
Be very
and
still.
relax.
I'm gonna rub these ice cubes on you. Don't worry.
John. It's not gonna work. Yeah, we get that whole scene with like that whole thing with Tori, and I feel like that's gonna mean something in the future. Not necessarily, like in a couple episodes from now. Not gonna be something that's gonna be mentioned too much. But if we go back to the Cylons, we forgot about the one part that we were talking about before, which was that when they have the meeting, when it overlays scenes of Simon fixing the Raiders, you see that Six shows up with the Centurions and basically is like, they've been hearing what you're doing to the Raiders and they're not happy. So basically they shoot the Cavils, the Simons, and I think and the Dorals in the room because they're used to doing one thing and one thing only, and you see how powerful this version of Six is, and man, I wonder if Gaius Baltar was to ever meet her, if he would want an upgrade to badass Six. I don't know. Yeah,
I admit you had a moment of satisfaction when the Centurions came to collect their dues.
Yeah, Clarissa's gonna be right back.
Like you got to admit they give you a certain level of satisfaction.
Yeah, that's because the Centurions are funny to watch too. Because it's just like they're just like.
Well, not
yep.
just that. It's one of those things you may not have even thought about since the beginning of the show. Is like, let alone the human models. Like, what about the Centurions? What about the Raiders? Like, these are sentient beings, and they're just treated like furniture.
Tools.
Yeah, tools or furniture by
They are tools.
the people who they're supposed to be, who are supposed to be fighting this war for them, but they treat them like, yeah, tools or furniture.
And it's not fun. Yeah, but it just shows you that it's like, ooh, there's gonna be some drama coming soon with that as well. And we got we kind of talked about this, but we also didn't. When Lee is leaving Galactica, he gets like the big send off with the going to shake everybody's hand. After he meets with Starbuck and he talks to Dee. I know we talked about this pre-stream, but it's like he talks to Dee and he's like, well, you get the house, buddy. And it's like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's kind of cheeseball. Like, looks like you get the house.
Yeah, I liked that line.
I'm leaving the ship.
That was lame. How could you like that?
I liked that line. I thought it was very very indicative of someone gracefully going through a divorce.
Like, I
No,
get
it's a
it, but
graceful
also-
divorce. It was just cheesy.
yeah.
It was just
Make
like,
me feel,
"Grr."
Dude, he was pretty hungover. Okay, you see how much fucking ambrosia he
Sure.
drank the night before?
yeah, but also at the same
Like, I'm
time,
surprised he didn't look like death warmed over. I'm surprised his eyes weren't.
Yeah, it was like Jello shots from hell from the look of all that ambrosia.
Still was lame.
Like he must have gone home with itches from me drinking all that Kool-Aid after shooting that scene.
yeah.
I personally
Is
worked
this
at
Crystal
places
Light?
where we have send-offs like that, and
It's Crystal.
yeah, did not feel so good the next day.
I think
And I'm pretty good at handling my alcohol, but no, ambrosia basically, like we figured out, it's like essentially it's like absinthe,
Yeah,
so
but they don't seem to mix it with water.
he just drank like half a bottle of Pernod in one go,
yeah.
let alone what he was doing with the rest of the night.
Yeah, he's
But I
got
have
Yeah.
send-offs like that where you toast everybody and you're like, oh shit. Oh, hi Catherine, thank you. Yes, this is my Eeyore onesie.
Were we supposed to be in pajamas tonight?
That's what I was told.
I'm in my pajamas.
I'm kind of in pajamas. I'm just in a t-shirt, so. Hi, Catherine.
I don't like confrontation.
Mackenzie's
so I
like,
just do
I'm
what you
always
want
in
to
my
tell me to.
pajamas.
Yeah, I'm on break before I start my internship, so I'm just like, I'm just in pajamas.
I guess I'm a
Um,
rebel. I never do what you guys want.
Bobby, you look beautiful anything. Yeah, we
Yay,
get the
Catherine and Juliana are both in pajamas.
we get
Inner
the
City, are you in pajamas too?
That's the
Yeah,
pajama jam.
oh jeez. Yeah, we
Jamming
get
in my
I can see that movie is
pajamas.
older than you are. You
My
probably don't get
pajamas.
the reference.
nope. Yeah, we get the send off, and it's like this makes me think. It's like, will this be like the last time, or one of the last times that it's like they're all like obviously together, because it feels like to me they've kind of pushed Dee to like the corner. It's just like she's gonna just stay in the corner for a while. It's like because she's already been kind of pushed that way. Like she's popped up like the other episode for like a 5-second scene, but now that she doesn't have like her main story thread, which is technically Lee involved, is like what's she gonna do? Is she just gonna fade into the background, or something bad gonna happen? That's my one
Gotta hope.
thing.
Well,
I've
her
had
job's
enough
kind
deep
of
in this
important.
series. No, I
Her
know. I'm
job's kind
just
of shit. So I don't think she's going to totally disappear.
she does have an important job. You're right, John. It's just I would be happy if she did her job somewhere off screen where we don't have to look at her or hear her or
Why you gotta
think
be a
about
hater?
her.
That's how I feel about the
Because she's
president.
annoying.
Yeah,
Sorry.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
That's how I feel about Dee.
I don't think
Since
she
she was
like.
first making googly eyes at Apollo while she was still dating Billy,
Yes.
I was just like, okay.
Oh,
Like,
tell me you never did that when
I'm
you
sure
were
how
that
much I
age.
like her.
Billy saved her life and she
What?
went right to him.
I said, don't tell me you never
Yeah.
did that when you were that age.
Did what?
Made
What
googly
age?
eyes at somebody else when you were with somebody.
I wasn't like
I don't think I
dumping
did
my
ever.
boyfriend and then having him put a bullet or put himself between me and a bullet for him and then still go after that other guy. Be all like, oh, too bad you're dead, Billy. Bye.
Yeah.
That sucks. I'm gonna
Hers was
move
kind of
on
like,
now.
yay, he's dead. I'm free now.
1 day later.
Yep, she's a jerk.
Hmm.
Poor Billy.
Right? Like
Yeah.
Julianne saying, after she gave Billy shit for not pursuing her more
Yeah.
heavily than he does, and she's all like, I like somebody else now. And it's just like, I'm gonna slap
Uh-huh.
your
Oh,
face,
you saved my
lady.
life. Hey, Lee.
Oh, you're dead. Oh well. I'm gonna go for the hot
Oh,
flight guy
well.
now.
Holy
I'm
shit.
gonna
Anyway.
go for my upgrade now, kind of thing. But yeah, I feel like
We've already talked about her
My
wins
upgrade. Wow.
cameo that she had this episode.
But yeah, but she's just I don't know. I just don't feel like we're gonna see much of her. But minus like the signs when we're in like the
It's all right. She got
control
the house.
room. Yeah, or yeah, you got the house. It's like it would have been funnier if he was like, "Oh, you got my family instead." Like, 'cause pretty much everybody on that crew is his family. So it's like you get to keep my family, and I or whatever, like something like that, and I'd have to go or something like he said, if you get to keep the house, it's like it's all everybody's house. Like that's just such a stupid thing to say. But I'm like,
What are your predictions about Leah Dama going into politics?
Well, he
That's
looks
why
mighty fine in a suit, and that's half the battle right there.
he has a damn good freaking tailor. I want to find his tailor and hire him or her.
Yeah,
Like
pinstripe
a
suit
damn
him
good tailor.
so well.
Because I'll
What's
tell
an,
you
guy
right now,
who's wearing one of those
pinstripes look a
too?
lot better than an Eeyore onesie.
I like Eeyore.
I like pinstripes.
You look beautiful in your Eeyore onesie, John. Right, Johnny?
Not as
Johnny,
good as
you're
I
still
would.
in the chat.
Not as good as I would in pinstripes, though. Especially custom hand tailored pinstripes. I would look very good in that.
I'm
That's
sure
your
you'd look
opinion.
fabulous in pinstripe. I'm sure you have pinstripe, knowing you, John.
I have a pinstripe waistcoat. I don't have a pinstripe jacket,
Maybe
and I
even a
don't think
gray
I would ever
herringbone
own
or something.
pinstripe pants. I'm sorry.
A little too zoot suit for you.
Yeah, it's a little too over the top for my personal tastes.
yeah, it's one of those. But I feel like he's going to see
Inner City
the
likes your onesie too, John.
I think that Lee is going to see the different side to politics that he hasn't seen before. I think we're going to probably now because we're going to have Lee being focused majority of the time in or involved with Rosalind and the rest of like the Colonial One, that we're going to see more of the dirty side to politics, and if he still likes it.
Do you
Going
think
in
he's
with
going
one
into
of
it
those
because? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Mackenzie.
Yeah, but it was basically that he's going to see like what politics is really like, and probably like Zarek's bound to show up at one point, so it's going to be like that type of thing, and it's going to be like that reunion of like that season 1 mini storyline, when Lee was on Rosalind's side, and Lee and Rosalind went to be with visit Tom Zarek, and then it's
On
like
the
a
Astro
whole.
Queen,
Yeah, it's like that whole thing. There'll be like a scene with all of them again. And it's like, so
best
you're gonna be
first
on
ship
Rosalind.
ever.
Yeah, it's like, you're gonna
The
be
Astro
on.
Queen prison ship.
Yeah, you're on Rosalind's side
So
again.
did he
It's like
bring
it'll
the
be one of the.
Encyclopedia Adama with him?
I'm assuming, or it's being shipped over to um, his new quarters, because it seemed like he was carrying like a gym bag kind of thing near the end of the episode. So like with the amount of clothes that he has. So I'm assuming it's probably being like brought over to him.
You know, every day at 3 in the
Does he
afternoon,
mention
the YMCA on the Astro Queen.
John? Did they mention where Lee? Like what? I know that Lee is filling a vacancy in the quorum. Is that like as an alderman kind of idea? Is that what he's doing? And who is he representing?
Well, if there's a vacancy in the quorum, it's a quorum of 12. One represents each planet. Now, what planet
Right, so
was
that
it?
means he represents somebody.
Well, where'd he come from?
What?
I said, where did he come from?
Where did he come from?
He came from Caprica.
Okay, so he's representing Caprica most likely.
It would be my assumption that yeah, he would be a junior representative for Caprica.
Okay.
He can't representative a planet that he's not from.
Well, I was going to say, can you only represent a colony that you are from?
My assumption would be that you'd at least have to live there. Like
Interesting.
I was born in Ohio, but let's say I moved to Wyoming. I could run for office in Wyoming, but I would have to live in Wyoming to be able to run for office there.
Interesting, because like here, for instance, in our provincial government, Columbia, in the last government, because the premier, she served a second term, and she knew after her first term that in her riding, which is the voting areas here, she knew that in her riding she would not get reelected. So she ran in a different riding where she knew that her party was popular. And she'd never lived there in her life, still didn't live there, but she could run in that riding. She could hold the seat for that riding.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm pretty sure in the States you can't do that. Like you have to.
Okay. And then in the 12 colonies, you can't.
Right. You have to be a resident of the state you're running in. You don't necessarily have to be from there. Therefore, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was born in another country, was able to become the governor of California. But he would not have been able to become the governor of California if he lived in Nevada.
Right. So it didn't matter. So I guess because she still had to live in the province, it was just a different city than she would usually run in.
Gotcha.
She wasn't running in the city that she was from or the one that she was originally elected to office by, but she was still in the same province.
And Bobby just says political conversation, thumbs down. Trying to explain.
No, I'm just trying to establish the 12. I mean, because now Lee is going into politics and we need to sort of get a deeper understanding of how the quorum of 12 works and who represents what and why. So I'm just trying to get a comparison to sort of relate it to.
Well, which I also think is hilarious because, I mean, we've been running this show for over a year now. I mean, I think everyone here knows that of all people, I'm the last one who's going to push a political agenda. Like,
right, but I mean, I'm just talking about in
I'm just
relation
talking about
to
the rules. Trying to explain the rules.
We're talking about the quorum of 12 on Battlestar Galactica. I mean, it's part of the story. And I want to know what's going to be expected of Lee, but without being all spoilery.
But yeah, do you think that Lee? Okay, give him. This goes to what Mackenzie was saying because I'm really intrigued. You said you think we're going to be shown the underside. I'm asking you particularly, Mackenzie. Yeah. But anyone who wants to chime in, please do.
Yeah, because we haven't seen the. Because we haven't
seen the underside of politics.
No, because you've seen the more, not like it's light and fluffy, but you've seen a lot of like the more fluffier side of it, and the only big, like, dramatic part of it is the fact that it's was the presidential election between Rosalind and Baltar. So we also have to have like, I feel like there's going to be a sort of situation where it's not going to be like there has to be a shift in terms of like the government, or like there's going to be something that's going to come that makes drama for the last season. Like we've had a lot of, yes, we had political drama, but that was political drama within us versus the Cylon. So it's like they haven't done political drama within each other.
Not too heavily yet, right? Not since.
No.
Well, not since Rosalind came back.
And that's my question. Do you think Lee is going into this completely in rose-tinted glasses? Or do you think Lee's going into this because he's like, I am a decent, ethical, moral person, and I think I can do something to fix what's wrong. Like, I realize and recognize what's wrong in our system, and I want to fix it. Or do you think he's going into it just like completely like, oh yeah, this will be like.
I think there's that. It's like a mixture of the two. Like he has the stain of what happened when Rosalind tried to rig the election the first time and how that went down, and also he lived through lived through as much as he could when Baltar was president. So he's been through enough life experiences within the fleet to know that the politics isn't always clean. It's sometimes very dirty. But he's also gonna be, for us, the audience, have somewhat of rose tint. Like they're like 25%, like 50 to 25% rose tinted glasses. Like he likes the facade that comes with politics, but he doesn't know exactly like how bad it can actually get. And it seems like there's going to be something that's brewing that we haven't seen yet that's going to be a lot of the political story, because it seems like for at least part of season 4 it's going to focus a lot on the politics moving forward, because we have now 2 main characters, like I say the top 5, going to be involved within the politics instead of just Rosalind. And because we're so invested with Lee's character, that there's going to be some sort of story with that. Plus, Tom Zarek's not back yet, and we know how Tom Zarek loves to stir the pot every time he shows up.
Well, that actually brings me back. Like, I don't think Apollo is going to this remotely unjaded. Like, I think he thinks I'm a good person. I can do what I can to make things as better as possible. I mean, you were talking about Tom Zarek, like, and how Tom Zarek and Lee have had this issue since the time they met. Like, to me, one of Lee's most powerful moments actually came in that episode, which was like the second non-miniseries episode of season 1, when they finally take the prison back, and he says to Zarek, he's like, "Oh no, you're going to get your voice. You're going to get your platform. You're going to get all of these things. What you're not going to get is your freaking holy war. What you're not going to get, I know you want to be a martyr. Nope. Sorry, not going to let you do that. I'm going to let you have this voice that you say you don't have." Like, I mean, I remember watching that episode and being like, Apollo's a freaking bamf.
Apollo's also going to be facing the sort of like the Adama stigma. I mean, he faced it being in the military for sure, but now that he's going into politics, it's going to be very much, is the deck stacked against, or is the deck being stacked in the Adama's favor, first in military, now in politics? Like, how there are already people who kind of have a problem with the name Adama, simply because of what happened with New Caprica and everything. So, and the feelings of abandonment from the Pegasus and Battlestar Galactica. So, we'll see if that plays a part in
if you go back
upcoming political drama.
If you go back when Zarek was trying to talk Baltar into running, he's like, "Do you honestly see anyone whose name isn't Adama or Rosalind ever running this fleet again?" I mean, yeah, it's the sensationalist type of things that revolutionaries say. But I mean, he has a point. He's like, do you ever see anybody who's not named Adama or Roslyn in charge of anything ever again?
That would be almost like if Galactica worked like royalty, basically. It's like that passed on to this kid, then this kid, and then this kid. Like it, I don't know. But also makes me think too that no one's besides Hilo and and Athena / Boomer and like Nicholas as like any kids that are like anybody's having any kids anytime soon. So it makes you just think that it's like I don't think that's like a complete accurate sort thing, but it makes sense. It's like that there's gonna always be someone like them that's gonna be in charge, basically. I don't know, but I could be wrong. Could be a thing of like finding out that things like, oh, there actually is like an heir to the Atama like dynasty. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. The Adama dynasty.
Yeah.
Is there any characters that we haven't discussed that we need to discuss? We discussed Pius Gaius
Oh,
and
we
Tori's thing.
did. The last thing we didn't talk about yet is Starbucks' new mission that she's going to be going on. At the end
Right,
of the,
at the end of the episode, Starbuck and Adama and Hilo.
When it comes down to it, Adama trusts her.
well, yeah.
Well, I thought it was interesting that Adama was in the observation area. Like, he obviously made a point of being in the observation area when they jumped that last time. Because he wanted to see what happened when she was just by herself. And she's like writhing on the floor and like still yelling, "We're going the wrong way." And
So, ladies,
and his discussing with Roslyn about it and their little we didn't talk about that yet.
Yeah. I think that we need
their little spat.
I think with the Starbuck and mission that she's gonna be going on, like obviously she's been freaking out because he's like, oh well, you gotta go see if what your hunch is correct, like that kind of thing almost, and I think it will cause problems. Like it's gonna be a thing where it's gonna go smooth, and then they're gonna hit a speed bump, and then they're not gonna know what to do, kind of thing, because it's under a covert operations is what they're actually doing, because they're saying they're doing something else, but they're actually compared to what they're actually doing.
I get, yeah.
And
I get the impression that Adama did not bring the president into the fold on this.
No, she's going on I think it's like one of those things where like it's a secret mission kind of thing, and that's why only a few of them know. Plus, the people that are meant to go on the mission that are just like, the extras in the background. It's like only a few people will know, which is interesting because isn't Hilo the acting XO almost? Or was the acting XO for a while, so it's interesting.
Well, he was, but now Ty's at least calmed down on the bottle. So
he's saddle.
He's the point where he's capable of doing his job again.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see like those two kind of like because Hilo's going with her, I'm assuming. That they'll be like to see that dynamic play out because we haven't seen that for a little while. Like those two have continuous scenes together. Like it's always like a one-off scene that they or have a conversation. Because I think the last time that the two of them had like a one-on-one conversation was when he's asking her about the mandala in Maelstrom, I think. Like that's like I think the last time that they've had like a one-on-one conversation besides this episode, pretty much. So it'll be nice to have those two back together because I know that their relationship in the earlier season was like quite pivotal. So it'll be nice to.
Well, they're pretty tight. I mean, they're really
Yeah, they're like
friends.
besties, right?
Yeah.
Super besties, those two. Hilo
Yeah,
and
so-
Starbuck are super besties for sure. She's like, she trusts him completely, which is obviously why it was hurting so much when he comes to collect her from the prison and doesn't realize until they get to the flight deck and Adama's there and he explains the whole thing. So,
Well, you got to think. I mean, when you really think about it, Hilo is the only person who Starbuck has met who doesn't either want to shag her or punch her in the face. You know, or at least the only male she's met who doesn't either want to shag her or punch her in the face, or both.
Well, well, he has a different relationship with her than the rest of them do. Like he doesn't seem like the type of person to want to hit people.
No,
unless
but
he
I'm
really
just
needs to.
I'm saying, you know, it really it kind of gives some grounding to his character and their relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying it's like he just doesn't. He himself just doesn't seem like the type of person that would do that to anybody, but especially to her. Is what I'm saying. Like or like Sharon / Athena. Yeah, the other scene though is Bill like Adama like he's wanting to believe Starbuck, but he also has to make Rosalind believe that he's understanding what she's saying as well. Like he's like he's like caught in the middle between these two people, and it's just trying to appease them both. And it's like, but what makes me kind of laugh is that Adama wants to put Starbuck on a mission again. It's like you just got her back, yet you want her to go on another mission where who knows it could be another 6 months and then she'll come, or it'll be another 2 months and then she'll come back and be like, I was only gone for a day. What happened? It'll be like, oh no. It's like you think that you'd learn your lesson, but also at the same time, it's just like it'll make for dramatics on TV. But I think that we're gonna see a bit more of the not fallout, but like more of the arguments and discussions between Rosalind and Adama moving forward.
You're going to see a lot more dirty Starbuck, which I know makes Mackenzie really happy.
Stinky Starbuck.
Tinky
Bob-
Starbuck.
Bob
Can
says
we touch? Sorry, I'm having trouble telling if you guys are done talking or not.
No, I was just gonna say Bobby says that Hilo doesn't seem too worried about leaving Sharon. Yeah, exactly. I don't think she was
I mean,
true.
they're soldiers. They know what comes with the territory.
We also haven't seen her in a
So-
couple episodes either, so it's like,
Yeah,
Well, I
but he
know-
argues every time he has to leave her.
that's true.
Mm-hmm.
So unless she secretly
like-
put the backpack,
I'd like to jump on the discussion or the little tiff between Adama and Rosalind, and like how she doesn't regret pulling the trigger on Starbuck when Starbuck took her captive at the beginning of the episode. How she'd do it again, and it's like you're kind of wondering if the fact that she's gotten sick again and we know that she's dying, that she's just like throwing caution to the wind and she's just like, screw it, I'm going to follow my gut and fire a gun if I think somebody is my enemy. Like, do you think she's still being rational? Under the influence of her drugs and not sleeping. Like, is she rational? Should she still be president?
Ooh,
Well,
do you think? I mean, everybody thinks that. I saw in the comments, all these people are saying that Lee's going to be president. Do you think he's going to, like, maybe make a vote of no confidence?
Well, that's kind of what I'm wondering. Although, I don't know, it's kind of a leap thinking that Lee's going to just jump from fighter pilot to president.
I don't.
Like, what if he backs up Tom Zarek, for instance? Or he'll back up Tom Zarek, and then somebody will assassinate Zarek, and he steps in as president. That's how it'll happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's gonna be another, because you know this show, they love their mutinies, or
They do.
they love their switches of power and power to being taken over by other sources of power. So I feel like there's gonna be a thing where, because it happened with the Cylons, like the Cylons came and were like, "You better," like it's like if they were able to like be themselves, they're like, "You better act, whip into shape, or we're gonna start killing everybody." Like. It'll almost be like that same thing, but with the angsty Tom Zarek, and who knows? Gata does like to switch. Gata is such a flip flopper that who knows, he may join like that side. And plus, he's not. He always does like he did fight with Starbuck in the last episode about like the flight patterns or something. He was like, "Do you really want to do this?" or something like that. Like wasn't listening to her. It's like, why are you acting like you're talking to someone out of rank? Like you're like way out of line here. Yeah, it's like a mutiny.
Yeah.
Probably gonna come upon it, but before we get to another election, almost. But yeah, I think
Well, or
that was. But with what you're saying, like Julianne said that cancer can go to the brain, so it could be spreading, and that's why she's acting a little bit more crazy than usual.
I think it has more to do with the influence of her medications and sort of like the mindset of a dying person, especially somebody who's in a position of power that's going through what they're going through right now. She thought she was cured, and now she's not cured, and she's getting sick, and her relationship with the Dama is starting to splinter a bit. I mean, that was a pretty
She's still
powerful
staying
fight.
in his chambers.
You can stay in the room, but get out of my head. Right? He was just like, don't try to read me or tell me what I think. You know, I know my own mind. And what was the last thing he said to her before he walked out the door? He said, can't remember now. But she's a bit upset, obviously. And then that's when she starts playing with her hair. And then it's like pulling her hair out in a chunk. And she breaks down.
It's probably something about her mental state or something, or being a good.
Yeah, I think maybe things are not going to go well for her. Is all of her hair going to be gone the next time we see her, or like gone in patches? Because a lot of the time when people start losing their hair, they just shave their head. So she might do that.
Like the type to just shave it all off.
Yeah, but it's better than having chunks of hair missing and then just having like little, like long tufts with bald spots all over your head.
I don't think she's good. I think that was just to signify for us that it's like the medicine is like working, I guess, and like taking her hair out. But I don't think like by the end of the season she's just gonna be like have like one just bit of hair left. I think it's just to show that like she still is
That's
sick.
a big chunk of hair she pulled out. That was a big chunk of hair.
Well, they add in
It's
hair
coming out.
Having watched
Coming out
somebody
in chunks that size.
having watched somebody deal with like severe late stage cancer, like that was pretty. It was a pretty rough scene for me to watch the first time. It was a really rough scene to watch the first time.
Yeah, but I think aesthetics wise, for that show. I don't like it. Won't be until like much later in the season that they'll have her like have a lot of hair missing. I think it's just it'll be like progressive. It's not just gonna be like, oh, next episode she's like has like no hair left. It'll be like one of those things where it's like we won't get a scene probably like that where she's like pulling on her hair and a big piece comes out until it's like a bit later on in the show. Because it may be thinning, but it's not gonna be like, oh, got a whole like side of my hair is gone.
May we
It's not-
discuss the elephant in the room?
Which elephant? We've talked about most stuff already. So
Okay, so is her aim really that bad? Or did she shoot Starbuck and the bullet just didn't hit her for some reason?
no, she didn't shoot her. Just to scare her, I think.
We were talking earlier about.
Yeah, I'm
about
sorry.
that
I
scene.
missed the beginning of the conversation.
And we were discussing the significance of the bullet hitting the picture of Adama and the president together. And if that's some kind of foreshadowing or.
Well, I'm just saying,
something.
like, I mean, I'm a good shot, but even somebody who's like pretty bad with a gun, like she was 5 feet away from her. How did she miss her?
Mm-hmm.
She probably didn't try to hit her.
The first thing I noticed was she wasn't wearing her glasses.
Yeah, so she probably is having wonky vision, and then she doesn't have her glasses on, and plus she probably doesn't actually want to shoot her too.
She's not Velma. She's not like my glasses. I can't find my glasses.
Well, she's an old lady, so compared to like
She's
a
not an old lady. Oh my gosh! Like when they shot
Velma
this,
on
she was like
Scooby-Doo.
5 years older
Where's
than I
my
am.
glasses?
Well, that's what I'm saying. She's an older lady. She's not like a Starbuck where it's
So are you calling me an older man?
well, you are an older person.
And she
Compared to
already had a whole thing about her glasses the day before.
Yeah.
Or not the day before, but the episode before.
Yeah, playing with her. Yeah. It could be that her eyesight's going, or it could be that her vision's just wonky. So, but I think
Yeah.
it was. I think the shooting and not hitting Starbuck was also just to make it even more just a dramatic thing and have it look like Starbuck tried to shoot Rosalind because it didn't work, like that kind of thing. Like it's
She
not.
probably just wanted to get her attention.
Yeah. And
Now
to alert
stop it.
everybody else who was around too, to be like, save me from this psychopath, basically.
Well, she was acting like an ass.
Mhm.
Who,
Starbuck.
Laura or Starbuck?
Starbuck.
I'd be
She
pretty
looks
pissed
great.
too
Well,
if, like,
I think we've discussed every scene now. I have only a few questions left for this episode. The Centurions. Now that their ability for higher reasoning isn't being limited, will they start a book club?
Haha. But can they talk though? That's the thing.
Will Tori fall for the one god of Pius Gaius?
Probably.
I hope the Centurions
I'm-
start a music club. I mean, as
What?
much as I love I said I hope the Centurions start a music club.
It's a bonus, guys.
Like much as I love my book, much as I love my books, you know, I mean, a Centurion, that kind of minds, they'd be like sick on turntables.
Will Starbuck get that feeling of Earth again? Tune in next week to the next episode of Battlestar Galactica.
Dun, dun. Yeah, Clarissa, what did you think about or the prediction and stuff? Like your predictions for the next episode.
My prediction for the next episode,
Mhm.
or at least my
For the-
predictions for where the story is going.
Yeah. Yeah, your prediction.
Okay. I have a few ideas.
Mhm.
Starbuck and her crew get lost. The new Cylon order of things, they're gonna like somewhere along the line they're gonna miss a ship somewhere. There's gonna be like a surviving Cavill or Simon or Doral or they already killed Boomer, right? So not her, but I think that somewhere around there, that's going to happen with a Cavill, a Doral, or a Simon. One of them is going to survive, and they're going to try and do something to infiltrate the Cylon Sixes, Sharon's, and Leobins, and the Centurions. I think that Gaius is going to continue to be pious guy. And I think that Lee is going to end up being an assistant in some way to Tom Zarek. I think we're going to see more of Zarek in this season. And yeah, and Adama and the president are going to have a bit of a tiff because he's tired of being her wet nurse. Yeah, those are my predictions. This episode for me was definitely a 9.7. Freakouts, they're going the wrong way. And my remaining Cylon, oh hell, let's go with Callie this week. Because we never see her.
With the freakouts thing, I would like to say I think Katie Sackhoff played it off really well without being camp about it. I mean, something like a person who is getting mentally disturbed by like you could make that really camp, and I think she pulled it off pretty well without doing so.
And you think what? Sorry,
I said I think she pulled it off without coming across as camp. Like every time we jump, I'm going nuts. It's like I think she pulled it off without coming across as camp.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, that's my final Cylon, and I give it a 9.7 this week. I like this week's episode, and I definitely had the teary eyes for the whole Apollo Starbucks situation.
Big baby.
I know. I was just like
that's usually for John.
Yeah. They're funny. Bobby, what did you think about the episode? I know you put the rating in the chat, but what did you think? And what's your rating for the week?
It was a good episode. It was I was confused a lot, so I only gave it an 8.
Yeah.
Holy double Gaius Batman.
Yeah.
Too many comic books for me.
Yeah. Who's your final Cylon, Bobby?
Oh, geez, I don't freaking know. I'm gonna say Adama.
Adama. Do you have
Adama?
Do you have a prediction for
No,
later
I don't
on?
like predictions.
Okay.
Take it as I get it.
You'll take it as you get it. For me, I think that we're gonna get more Zarek throughout season 4. There's gonna be more political stuff that we're gonna be seeing. I don't think Starbuck's mission is gonna go very well. It makes me think that she's gonna find, they're gonna find where they have to go to get to Earth, but she's not gonna go there just yet. Like, they're gonna have more people show up before they go to Earth and stay on Earth or whatever. And one of our characters is gonna die soon. Like, we have to have somebody die soon. We've had too many times where no one's died recently. That's like of
I'm good with
significant
Tori dying because I don't like her.
of significant value. We need like someone of significant value to be be cut out of this show. And yes, I don't know who's gonna go first, but someone's gonna die soon. And my rating for the episode is 9 Adama Ambrosia au revoirs. And my final Cylon has been the same for basically since as far back as I can remember, in Ellen Ty. I'm sticking with Ellen Ty. God damn it, because I think there's a discrepancy in this freaking time period where she could have come back, and it makes sense.
You never know.
Yeah. Just like Cammy. If Cammy comes back, oh man, maybe
I'd be so happy. I don't care if she's silent.
We'll have
better
it.
come back
pot
holding a
pie
damn
waiting
pot
for her.
pie.
Yeah, we're we'll have if Cammy comes back, it'll be a celebration. A
A
celebration.
pot pie celebration.
Yeah, we'll have to have pot pie in celebration for that one. But
I'll mail
Hell
pot
yes,
pies to
pot
everybody.
pie.
If Cammy comes back, I'll mail pot pies to everybody on the panel. I'll make them and mail them to everybody.
I don't know if that'll work for Amy, because it'll have to go across the ocean.
God, gross.
Yeah.
Overnight
Better go with
shipping.
dry ice.
Overnight
Yeah.
shipping.
Yeah,
You can actually do things like you can order truffles from Italy and they'll show up at your house the next day. It's just going to cost you a ridiculous amount of money.
yeah.
Well, the fact that you're ordering truffles in the first place is going to cost you a ridiculous amount of money, but getting them shipped is going to double it.
What did Julian says if Ellen, the final one, could make Cavill grovel? Gravel?
Gravel.
Yeah.
Make them beg.
Yeah. I mean, if she's one of the final five and she's one of the ones that's in charge of the final five, like if she's the mama of the final five, then yeah, she could. She'd be pretty scary if she comes back and she's like, "Yeah, you bitch," and she's like, "I'm the one that made you," like that kind of thing. Like, that'd be kind of funny. Anyway, John, what's your teaser for us this week?
Ooh.
Yes. What is our hint? Hint. Was that too eager?
One of you got something right, and Starbucks is going to get more dirty.
What?
Well, it's predictable anyway, because it's fucking Starbucks.
Outside of the fact that Starbucks is going to get more dirty, one of you got something right.
She's dirty all the way around, so.
Yeah.
Good old stinky Starbucks.
The next episode is very hard to drop a teaser about without dropping a spoiler. So
Just spoil us. Damn it.
No, I don't do that.
You know, we're all gonna probably watch the episode after this ends anyway. So.
But I give this episode 9.75 perfect pinstripes.
There you go. And I know Julianne gave her rating. Julianne.
Yeah, spoil us for Christmas.
Oh yeah, it's Christmas on Wednesday. But Julianne gave this 10 Tory tears. So.
Yes, 10 Tory tears.
So
Anyway,
so next week
is
I will
3.
not be here.
Excuse me.
I will not be here as we have multiple family steps to the holiday lineup.
Oh no, it's okay.
The blended family situation. So I will not be able to attend next Friday. So if everyone's able to make it, I'm sorry to miss you. And if we don't have a Cylon Johns, then we'll see you the
In 2020.
weekend in
In
2020.
In the future, if we don't have one next week, that'll be a. We'll let you all know.
Yeah, I am wondering because we have one person from England and two people from Canada on our panel. Like, I don't want to inconvenience anybody by doing a on Boxing Day doing a presentation if it's going to inconvenience
That's
everybody.
on Thursday. That's a Thursday.
Right after Christmas?
Yeah,
Or
it's
this
the day
week?
after
Yeah.
Christmas.
Okay.
We are ending up having day after Boxmas Day dinner
Yeah, so
because
Claire
of
is on
another
on the
family because of another family conflict. So
Boxing Day. Can we change it to Boxy and Cammy Day?
panel.
Boxy and Cammy Day. Nice.
So then on New Year's Day, it's New Caprica Day. New Caprica.
I'll bring my
Anyway,
shovel.
but before we go on a bunch of different tangents,
Wait, are we doing anything Friday? Or are we skipping?
we can because I was talking to John after last week, so we can finish if we keep going at the rate that we're going, which is every week, we finish May 1st. So like would be the last episode of May 1st. So if not, then we just keep going
in the
into
late
May.
spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mid
we
to
will
late
be
spring.
here Friday?
If we still go if we still don't skip a week, then we'll finish May 1st. It just depends on when you want to finish. So we can skip next week. We can go next week. It doesn't matter to me, but we can.
I just want an answer because I don't want to not show up if I'm supposed to.
So
We'll figure
pay
it out
attention to
behind
notifications, everyone.
Yeah.
We'll let you know.
Set the notification. We'll figure it out behind the scenes. Bobby.
Oh, you know I don't pay
Ding
attention.
ding! Hit that bell.
Subscribe, like,
Taking your chances.
share it out. Share it with all of your peeps. And happy holidays, everybody. Make sure you have a great
Comments. Tell us
wonderful
what you think of our
holiday.
pajamas.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think of Battlestar.
Tell us what you think about Ladies' Night edition of Cylon, Johns and Jills.
Sorry, I crashed that party.
Yeah. And I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. And we'll see you all maybe next week.
And solstice.
And solstice. And so say we all.
So say we all.
So say we all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.